Surrounded by the trappings of 20th century technology, Christ Church enters her 826th year as a metropolitan cathedral. Though her silence be polluted by the roar of industry and her walls blackened by automobile fumes, Christ Church stands as her founders of another age intended. And every morning, like his predecessors of centuries ago, Joseph Coady, present verger of Christ Church, unmindful of the childish graffiti defacing her walls, ensures that the cathedral is open to all who may wish to enter the House of Strongbow. Traditional accounts about the original foundation of Christ Church go back to Patrick's time, when the saint is said to have celebrated Mass in a Danish crypt on the site. St. Patrick is also said to have prophesied the foundation of the cathedral where God would be praised beyond all the churches in Ireland. But recorded fact, as opposed to legend, doesn't begin until the 9th century.
The church was, of course, founded by the Norsemen in 1038. Dublin was really a Norse city, and it had a king and it had a bishop. And the King Sigtrygg gave to the Bishop Dúnán the hill of Dublin as a site for a cathedral. And they built in wood a simple little structure. They dedicated it to the Holy Trinity, but they called it affectionately and colloquially Christ Church, because they felt in a special way it belonged to Christ. And then it was when the Normans came with their great gift for building that Strongbow and St Laurence started to rebuild the cathedral as we have it now. There have, of course, been restorations. We're commemorating 100 years of restoration. Parts of the cathedral have fallen down and have had to be replaced. But as we see it now, allowing for the restoration, it's exactly as Strongbow and St Laurence planned it.
In Elizabethan times, in 1562, the main fabric very nearly collapsed altogether. The roof came in, and also the statue of Strongbow was wrecked, and all sorts of things like that happened. The then Lord Deputy, Sir Henry Sidney, he did a patchwork on it, and that patchwork really remained until Victorian times. And then, for various reasons, in the middle of the Victorian period, the cathedral was completely renovated by Henry Rowe, who was a big businessman in Dublin. He was a distiller, and in those days there was no capital taxation, no death duties, and money was concentrated in a few hands, and what is today very often done by general subscription was done by private individuals. And Rowe set about a complete renovation of the cathedral, and using the services of an architect called Street, who tried in his own way to restore the cathedral to what he believed it was like when it was first rebuilt by the Normans in the 12th and 13th century.
Well, now, girls, we are now entering the crypt of Christ Church. Do be careful of the steps coming down. They are rather steep, but you'll find a handrail on your left. Now, Christ Church Cathedral was founded in the year 1038. So that'd be 940 years ago. And as you know, sure, that the crypt was built by the Danes or the Vikings. Now, the crypt extends right underneath the whole cathedral, built with the nave, aisles, transepts, and 3 square ended eastern chapels, the west end of the crypt and the east end. Now, the whole crypt is built on a peat bog. That is unusual. Now, it's interesting to note that the materials used for building the crypt were stones, all sizes and shapes. The mortar mixed with ox blood. But more important, in fact unique, the wood wedges. You see the wood wedges protruding there. Now there you have the stone, over 800 years old. The wood wedges in a wonderful state of preservation.